I do think broadly consciousness is very sort of interesting to me. I mean, I think it's, a really broad topic and maybe it's kind of tacky to say, but thinking about how, I have a fundamental belief that consciousness is a property of the universe as opposed to something that's created by our brains. I would like to invest more in investing in that or seeking out answers there. And as sort of a subheading to that, I'm really interested in cetacean consciousness, like whales and dolphins.
Oh.
So
what does that word cetacean mean?
Cetacean is the
type
category of animals,
like the phylum or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Within you have, orcas and dolphins and whales and stuff like that. And so I do think they're probably just as smart as us, if not smarter. And it seems like we're kind of dropping the ball on not interacting with them.
That's a good point. And you know what's so crazy is that you would think that now with LLMs, we've basically been able to create instant translation between any language.
Yeah.
And no one has done this.
People
on
are
the
working on
dolphins.
that, and I think something will happen. There will be some sort of breakthrough, I think.
I would hope so, because we've had LLMs for quite a while now. I mean, it's like a few years old, and
Yeah.
I remember I went to this thing like in 2023, and someone was talking about decoding animal speech, and it's been 2 years, and I still can't.
God, that
you
would be
still
so
can't talk to a
wild.
dolphin.
Yeah, I mean, maybe is it a lack of investment? Is it, I'm not sure what is holding the field back. Is it a lack of training data? I don't know, but it seems like if we're ever going to talk to aliens, we should probably try to figure out how to talk to other mammals first, specifically cetaceans, because I think they're smarter than us and can teach us a lot.
Quest for startups.
Yeah.
If you could ask a dolphin one question, what would it be?
Oh man, I think I would probably ask for like a history lesson, to try to figure out if they actually do pass down information about their sort of history and lineage, like about dolphin society, how did it evolve over time, because they basically survived in the oceans and presumably never gone to war. I don't know. How are dolphins? I'm sure they fight with each other, and obviously there's all these anecdotes about them doing nasty stuff.
From what I understand.
Yeah, but no large scale dolphin, no dolphin World War II, as far as we know. No dolphin nukes, as far as we know. So there had to be, I guess they don't have thumbs. I don't know if that's the only excuse, but there had to be some interesting things about how they function as a society that we could potentially learn from.
That is true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
But, it may also just be that they had plentiful herring to eat. And now that we're destroying the oceans with, giant, like industrial scale fishing, they might have to start going to war.
It's possible. Yeah. I mean, I think, that means they were probably living in paradise for, the last, 10,000 years. I would still like to learn about that.
So, yeah, I mean, I think when you talk about the exploration of consciousness and like investing in that space, what like specific, like what kind of like unlocks would you be looking for? What like sort of inquiries would you want to do? Because I think usually when people say like, oh, I'm interested in the consciousness space, it means one of two things. Like they're either trying to start a meditation app or they're trying to like invest in some psychedelics. I don't think you're talking about either of those things.
Yeah. I mean, I think probably there's a field that I'm very interested in called quantum biology, which looks at how quantum effects interact with biological systems.
Okay.
So kind of going down that route, I think there's a lot of fundamental learning that has to happen about quantum effects in biology before we can even try to get to the brain. But there's probably a lot of experimentation that can be done to understand, how do quantum effects and biology interact? And I do think there's something there. It's obviously we're just lacking the tools basically to look for it.
Did you see that very large PDF that was circulating on X about quantum biology like 4 months ago? Like someone had recently written this large, almost textbook-like paper.
Okay, you have to check that out.
I'll try to find it.
Yeah.
Seems interesting.
I know some researchers in the space, and I really believe in them. I think they're great. And I think correlated to that is also all the bioelectricity stuff, Mike Levin stuff, which is kind of, again, a generic answer. Everyone loves Mike Levin, I guess, in this space. But I do think a lot of that stuff is really interesting. Like how can you use magnetic fields and electricity to drive biology or manipulate it in different ways? And I think ultimately all that stuff kind of feeds into, what is consciousness.
What do you think, like, super lay person's explanation is a hypothesis that you have about how the quantum world impacts consciousness, or at least should impact our understanding of consciousness?
Well, I mean, I guess, I am kind of starting from this place of all matter being imbued with some kind of consciousness and that our brains are just local maxima of that. So I really have found a lot of, I mean, I'm really interested in sort of animistic type religions, and a lot of the fundamentals there are that all matter has some sort of life force.
Is that like Buddha, like animistic?
Yeah, like Shinto.
Like Shinto,
yeah. I mean, Shinto is the one I'm thinking of, where they believe that all, objects have some sort of life force in them. So I'm kind of aligned with that, rocks, trees, even things that are, not made of living matter. So if that's the case, and I think that's the area that I would just like want to try to explore, and there may be some correlations with all this, and some of these crazy phenomena that you hear about, like the idea that the CIA was using sort of mind readers who could approximate where something was located.
They found the downed plane
exactly.
in Africa. Yeah.
So
remote viewing.
Remote viewing, exactly. Yeah, forgot the term for that. That's exactly what it is. So there's, and that to me also is maybe a little tip of the iceberg thing. It's like, well, these people somehow seem to be hooking into something. And I'm, again, trying to not be too woo-woo about it, because it's hard to avoid that. But in my personal experience, that feels intuitively sort of like an area I would want to explore.
Yeah, I remember you sent me like a list of 100 startup ideas, and one of them was just psychics, which I loved.
Yeah. We should probably be investing in psychics.
We should be investing in psychics. And I guess if we're thinking about this from like an entrepreneurial perspective, if you can actually figure out how to identify the level of consciousness in any given piece of matter, that means that you can maybe harness that piece of matter to do something, or at least communicate with that piece of matter, or use it as a conduit for something. Like there's some utility there.
Yeah, I mean,
if you assume that there's some level of consciousness flowing through it, rather than it's just a piece of dead, ignorant thing, you might be able to do something with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the goal is for, instead of creating superintelligence, let's be the superintelligence. That's kind of the intent. We don't need a third party, silicon-based superintelligence. We can be the superintelligence in my mind.
Makes sense. Although the silicone does have consciousness running through it, as you just said. So
yeah, true.
Don't prejudice your own carbon intelligence over the silicon.
Yeah, don't judge. Yeah, exactly.